few years ago my mum had passed away. I always go visit to see my mum's graveyard every once a week. I always bring flowers and place it into a gravestone. But one night it was very dark. I went to go see my mother and I'd been talking to a gravestone for a while about what I had been up to. After I had a long chat with her, I decided to set off home. So I slowly walked through the graveyard. My car is parked quite far because the graveyard is a very big place to be. After halfway through from walking, I noticed it was getting really foggy and started to get really cold. I could not see a thing as it is really dark and it is hard for me to see through the mist. I can hear the trees ruffling noise like it's getting louder and louder. I started to walk up in speed just to get to my car and get out of here. Then I hear some kind of footstep walking toward me. That's when I know that I am not alone. I'm hearing voices around the graveyard like it's some kind of ritual going on. While I was walking the pathway, suddenly the candles have lit up all the way the pathway. So now I'm starting to get freaked out. I follow the pathway as it is the only thing that I can see through the fog. At the end of the pathway, that's when the candles stop. I can see the really old big house I have never seen before. I'm still hearing voices around the graveyard as it is getting even louder, so I ran to the house, then I have knocked the door. I haven't seemed to get any response from anyone. It doesn't look like anyone been in this house for years, so I enter the house, shut the door and hide inside. While I was inside the house, it is really old and it is very freezing inside. I walked around the house and I don't see anybody, but then I hear a really loud footstep coming from upstairs. I realise someone is in this house. I immediately apologise saying, "Hello, I'm very sorry I walked into your house. I just feel like someone is following me from outside, so I hid inside your house if that's okay." Whoever was upstairs seemed to ignore my question. But then I hear someone walking down the stairs. I went to go take a look and then there was a woman coming downstairs. I couldn't believe with my own eye that she was floating down the stairs. She pale as white by the look of it. She looked like she is some kind of a ghost. I froze myself and feel very frightened for what I am seeing. She said to me, "Run, they are after you." She pointed the front door, showing me to go to that direction. I went to run outside through the forest. It was still foggy and I still can't see where I am going, but I am going straight into that same direction. But then I heard voices behind me. I looked back and there was a woman wearing a black dress, holding a candle in her hand, saying the word that isn't speaking properly. It sounded like the ritual voice that I have heard earlier. She told me, "Come over here, your mother is waiting for you," and she chuckled. I knew it was some kind of a trap. I didn't listen, I just carried on walking into that same direction. But then my heartbeat is starting to go very fast, and I started to feel more terrifying because I heard a monstrous growling sound coming from behind me. I ran for my life and didn't look back. For the past few seconds, I found my way out and I found my car in the parking lot. I still feel shaken for what I've experienced. The fog was gone and now I can see clearly. Whoever it was that followed me, I'm just glad that I've lost them. I drove back home and I still feel terrified because what would have happened if I did walk up to the lady in the black dress? And what was this evil growling noise that I have heard? That's something I would never know, but I do know it sounded evil. This woman in white dress, the reason I listened to her because she was actually my mother, and I can't seem to stop thinking about her. And she's helped me the way out. I'm glad I took her advice. If it wasn't for my mother, I wouldn't have made it out alive. Next week later, I went to go visit my mother's graveyard because she is my guardian angel. As from now on, I will only visit her in daytime.